Hello, everyone, and welcome to Hope. My name is Tammy Lynn Connors. This is my podcast and YouTube channel. Today, I have my friend Avery with me. How are you today?
I am wonderful. Good to be here.
Thank you for coming and joining me today. I'm super excited to hear Avery's story. So, my mission and vision with Hope is just to help people that feel like they're struggling alone. I feel like in this world, especially today, so many people feel like they're at home just struggling by themselves and there's nothing they can do about it. And my hope is that maybe you'll hear this podcast, maybe you'll hear Avery's story or Jamie's story or somebody's story, and we'll encourage you to just open your front door and walk outside and just take a deep breath and know that everything's going to be okay. Um, it's been a great journey doing this, and like I always say, God always puts the most amazing people in my life, and Avery is one of them. I work at the diner. I worked at a diner called Sunrise Skillet back in 2019, and I remember you were there probably on a Sunday after a run, or maybe a Saturday, because
Saturday.
you're a runner, correct?
Yes, yes.
Yes. And I, Everett, we had a cook that worked there, and his name was Everett. And I remember I put off that good vibe, I guess. We were just talking about that, but we were talking about Everett, and he was telling me about Everett shouldn't be like as in the world that he was living in now,
Hmm.
right? Because of his youth and things. And I said,
Correct.
"Oh," I said, "Do you work with youth?" And he said, "Yeah." And we talked a little bit more about that, and we'll talk about that a little bit more in a minute. But and we'll talk about Everett in a minute. I'm just not quite ready yet, so we'll get there.
He was a
Um,
special guy.
he was a very special guy. So, anyways, continued to come into the diner, and then I moved away and things, and somehow we became started following you on Instagram, and just following you and watching your story and seeing all the great things that you're doing in the city of Toledo. And here we are together, and I asked you to be on Hope, and here you are, and I'm super excited.
Woo, you're excited. I am too now. I started in radio broadcasting to go way back in 79. And I've got to say, this is my very first time being on a podcast.
Awesome.
So I get to add that to my collection of things, of accomplishments.
Awesome. Awesome. It's exciting.
First time on a podcast with Tammy Lynn. All right.
So
Cool.
exciting.
Yes, I
Yes.
am as well.
So you grew up, we were just talking, you grew up in Florida?
Yes,
Okay.
a little town called Homestead. I'm sure your viewers should be familiar with Homestead. The last little town we lived in, though, was called Goulds, Goulds, South Ridge Spartans. I was a part of the very first year that the school was built. I think that was in 78. So had a chance to go home a few months ago and to walk by the school and just so many memories. Then Hurricane Andrew came through and just like totally devastated the area, but
Yeah.
it's kind of recovered. And but just to see the old high school just brought back so many memories. But we moved here, my mom and my two sisters, in 1979. Well, actually, my mom came in November of 78. My baby sister January 79, and I came in March 79. And it was like a culture shock.
Okay.
I had never seen a tree without leaves, had never seen grass that wasn't brown, uh, had not seen squirrels running through. I've seen rats before, but I had never seen squirrels. I'd never seen snow. Of course, we're talking about down in the 305, down in Miami, Florida area. So to experience those things was just totally um, a culture shock for
Mm-hmm.
me. And the other thing that's very humorous for me now is the southern accent that I had growing up down there in South Florida. Um, I did not enunciate my words the way that I do now, and it was the insight of my high school broadcasting arts teacher. I appreciate this man to this day, John Cushel. He saw something in me,
Mm-hmm.
that hope
Mm-hmm.
that I didn't see as a 16, 17-year-old. He said, Avery, take the paper, read it out loud. And, that seemed so simple, but yet it was so profound because it changed my life. Um, I began to enunciate my words clearly. I had that confidence, the way I'm able to sit here and to look at you in your eyes. I couldn't do that. I would look down, look around, low self esteem, just not feeling good about myself.
Mm-hmm.
And through the power of broadcasting arts and then our hope in Christ, my life again as a teenager just totally changed.
That's awesome. So let's talk a little bit about the self-esteem part
Okay.
because I think that's huge, and especially, well, I'm going to say in boys. I know it is with girls, but we don't think about it, right? I don't think about it. I never looked at a boy and was like, oh, he's got low self-esteem issues because he's a guy, right? So that probably came from like people saying things to you when you were younger.
Oh, yes. Oh, absolutely. I've always, as my brother-in-law would say, the gift of gab.
Uh-huh.
And my philosophy is, see, some people talk, others of us have something to say,
Mm.
and I've got a lot to say. So I don't just talk; I have
Right.
something to say. But anyway, so as a young boy growing up in South Florida, my teeth, my dad had a gross overbite
Mm-hmm.
from sucking my thumb, and of course, I didn't. It was no big deal until my cousin began to make fun of me in the front of other girls, and that's like a absolutely don't you do.
Right.
You don't make fun of me in front of a girl. Are you
Mhm.
crazy? Brothers don't do that. That's a thou shalt not.
Right, right.
And anyway, it was things like that because they would laugh, and inside, I was laughing outside, but
Mhm.
inside, I was cringing. I was like retreating. I was dwarfing. I was just feeling demoralized,
Mhm.
over the years. And that's why I'm so thankful for my broadcasting arts teacher and then my relationship with God. That just caused me to my esteem to grow by leaps and
Mhm.
bounds, and being surrounded by people who could see in me what I did not see.
Mhm.
So the old adage that sticks and stones may break my bones, but words would never hurt me. I don't subscribe to
I
that.
don't subscribe to
I
that
don't
either.
subscribe to that. That words can do so much damage.
Mhm.
Those same words, though, if you turn it around, I was saw recently it said the word hate has four letters, but so does the word love. So I have a choice to make. I can choose hatred, or I can choose to walk in love.
Yeah.
And to me, I'll take love any day,
Yeah. Yeah.
because
Yeah.
again, I want to make sure I'm very confident of the man that I have become.
Mhm.
Um, just, I don't know exactly what day this will air, but I just earlier today, it was opening day at one of the schools in town. Am I allowed to say the
Yeah. Oh,
school?
yeah.
Okay.
Go ahead.
All right. Rosary Cathedral School. Um, Today was opening day, and um, been doing this was my sixth time doing it as the being there to welcome the parents. We play music. We rah rah. We shout them down. I throw the microphone in front of their
Mhm.
faces. And one of my friends was there from he attends Christ the Word Church, and then I have friends from First Church of God there with me. And I remember saying to them, um, this phrase I heard is so true. If you want to go fast in life, go alone.
Mhm.
But if you want to go far in life, you have to go as a team.
Mhm.
So the team of us, we were there welcoming those students on opening day. And my mind just went back in retrospect about um, how opening day was for me, first day of school, down in South Florida, not quite understanding why we don't have sufficient food, don't understand why we don't have sufficient clothes. Um, my mom, as I shared with you before we got started, had four children by the time she was 21, and she ended up passing away at 38. But those formative years for me were some of the harsh, cruel ones. But yet again, if I had to do it all over again, I wouldn't trade it
Mhm.
because, again, it made me the man that I am today. There's something called resilience,
Mhm.
or as some would call it, intestinal fortitude. Um, so when the pressure gets turned up, I'm not going to crumble. I'm not going to crack. I'm not going to say, woe is me. I'm going to stand and look for that silver lining
Mm-hmm.
somewhere. And I believe that as long as there's hope,
Mm-hmm.
there's another chance.
Yes, yes, that's so good. I love that. And it's so true. I think that I feel that way too about that. Like if you not the Debbie Downers, not the woe is me, there's always a silver lining. I mean, I know we all go through like some major struggles in life and tragedies in life, but there's always hope for us. If we, you wake up in the morning and if you take a breath, then God has you here for a reason for
Absolutely.
that day. Don't know what that reason is for that day, but I promise you there's something that you're here for that day because he wouldn't
Amen.
keep you here. It'd be
Yes.
time for you to go to heaven. That's how I feel about it. I'm like, I woke up today, I better go make somebody smile today or something or do something
And
good.
you do the videos. OMG. I'm like, wait a minute. Is this that jazzy lady who was just serving me some potatoes, toast and eggs? Is this her? I
Yeah,
was like,
yeah.
oh wow. I couldn't help but smile each time on the gram when I would see the post that you put. And then the dance moves. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, I would love my dancing. That's for sure.
Oh,
That's for
yes,
sure.
you do.
Yes.
And it just makes me smile. And because I know you, of course, that adds a little extra to it. It just makes me smile.
Good, good. That's what I love to do is make people smile. So, um, so you worked with youth, and like we said, you
Yes.
worked with Everett. I guess we'll go into that. I'm going to share a little bit about Everett. So Everett worked at the diner that I worked at. He was our cook, one of our cooks, one of our line cooks, and unfortunately, December of last year, it was December, correct?
Yes.
Yes, he was shot and killed, and so very unfortunate because young man. I think Everett was 24 at the time.
23 or
23 or
24.
24, and just a super kid. Like
Yes.
every time I go in the diner after I left, I'd walk in and he'd give me the great big hug. And one time I had one of those handgun massagers, and I had it in my truck. So I brought it in one time because his back was hurting him when I was working. So every time I come in, he'd give me a big hug. And I was living in Arizona at the time. He'd be like, "Do you have that massager with you?" I'm like, "No, Everett, I'm going to have to just buy you one." And he would always say to me, "Tammy, if you open a diner in Arizona, I'm going to come work for you." And then I got the phone call and crushed my heart because what he was just an amazing young man. And
Right.
I know that you worked with Everett. So I guess what when did you start working with youth, and what made you want to do that?
Looking back, uh, uh, my escape plan, as I humorously call it, my mom had three girls, and I'm her only begotten son.
Okay.
And so my house was filled with ladies. I
Mhm.
had ladies telling me what to do at school. I had ladies telling me what to do at church. I just couldn't wait until I became a man so I can get away from these ladies. But through a social program through at our church down in Florida, I remember being a part of the Boy Scouts, and it was just so cool to be around just guys and no ladies.
Mhm.
Of course, things have changed now. It's the Boy and Girl Scouts, I believe it is. But way back when, just to be around boys, it was so cool. And as I mentioned earlier, as I begin to grow and then in my faith and then the confidence, just inside of me, just want to give back. Just want to, because
Mhm.
I know how it was for me. Parents divorced when I was 6, no dad in the home. Um, I wanted to be that one to give back and reach back.
Mhm.
So I became the 2004. I was the director of the first my first after school program. Was called ASK, which stood for After School Club. And then when I got there, it wasn't long. I used the scripture. I'm known for using lots of verses from the
Mhm.
Bible. There's a passage in the Bible where Jesus says, "Ask, seek, and knock." So
Mhm.
that's what I turned the
Oh,
ASK into:
I love
ask,
it.
seek, and knock. So Everett was, I was there. I started in 2004. I think Everett was like my second year. And if there was a quote perfect teen, it was him. He had two brothers by the name of Deshaun and Dorian. Oh my gosh. Because of working with Everett and then meeting Deshaun and then Dorian, oh Lord, it was like night and day, oil and water. hot and cold. You get what I'm saying.
Yeah, oh yeah.
But yet, of course, I love them all. And the first time when I came into the diner, I didn't know that Everett worked there. Uh, Good friend of mine. I remember when because I live in that area, and I came in for breakfast and just started coming. I enjoyed the environment, good food. Um, and then I came in, and then I looked up and I saw this guy, and I was like, Everett. And our eyes locked,
Mm,
and he came out from behind the counter, gave me a big hug, and I was just so proud to see him
mhm,
working. I was like,
yes.
good. And I just clearly remember, I'll never forget. He said, "I want to thank you, Mr. Cooper, for taking me to the library." And I was like, "What teenager will say thanks for
Yeah.
taking me to the library?" He said, "I want to thank you for taking me to the UT Rec Center, and thanks for taking me to the Pistons game. You know, I'm a big Detroit Pistons
Hmm.
fan. And in our after school club, once a year, I would take students to the Detroit Pistons game. But what really stood out was when he said the library. I
Hmm.
was like, I don't remember taking you to the library,
Hmm.
but okay. Now, of course, I remember the Pistons game, but that let me know the impact that it
Right.
had on him. And let me pause now to say, Tammy, influence is powerful. When you have influence over individuals, they won't per se say that, but it's displayed in their actions. And of course, he doesn't have to impress me. He's Everett,
Right.
I already like him. He doesn't have to try to, I see you're working. I see you
Right.
look good.
Yeah.
You talk good. You smell good.
Hmm.
So I know, I can tell, I can interpret that you're doing well for yourself. But that was his way of saying thanks, and that meant so much to me. Um, that this young man, and at that time I think he was maybe 22,
Yeah.
21,
Probably.
22, that he was thanking me for those things. So that just solidified the relationship. And like you, when I got the word that he had tragically had been murdered,
Hmm.
I was just, I just could not believe it.
Hmm.
So thank God for social media. I was able to thumb through some pages on our after school club page and pull up some photos. We were all shocked because,
Right.
again, not ever. This just would never happen
Right.
to him.
Right.
It was clear, in my opinion, a case of being in the wrong place at the wrong time.
Hmm.
I still don't know all the details, but it still was a
Yes.
tragedy.
Yes.
So boys like Everett um, remind me of how it was for myself, not having my dad wasn't in the home, and I had all of these sisters. Everett did have his brothers, and there were other males that were in his life. But I thank God for the time and the influence that I had. And because of that, I get to sit here with you
No, that's
and
true.
talk about
That's true.
hope.
That's true. That's true. That's how God works. I always tell people, God, the universe, whatever it is you believe, I know it's God. So, yeah. And I remember after you left, I talked to Everett because Everett and I would talk a lot, and as much as I could get him to talk because he was kind of a quiet one,
Yes.
but. He would say to me, he told me the same thing. He's like, yeah, he's like, he took us to the library, he did this with us and this with us. And it was just a big impact on his life. So I think that, like you were saying, um, we need to be influencers for
Yes.
people.
Yes.
You just don't know whose life you're going to change from that.
Hmm.
And you being that influencer. I mean, I'm not sure about his brothers Deshaun and Dorian where they're at in life, but with Everett, you were such an influence and made an impact in his life, maybe just from the library, that he went down a different path in life than he probably was meant to go down.
Hmm.
I know that I listened to David Goggins. I'm sure. Do you know who David Goggins is?
I don't
Oh,
think so.
I thought maybe you might know because he's a runner, but he was a Navy SEAL. Anyways, he went through a horrible, tragic life, and he says this, and I love when he says this because he says he go. Let's just say he goes to heaven. He used to be 300 pounds and he sprayed for cockroaches, and then he decided to become a Navy SEAL. So this is what his life is really like. And he said, I get to heaven, and God's sitting there, and God says, pulls out a manila envelope. He's like, "Oh, David Goggins, so you're a three-time Navy SEAL. You ran triathlons. You changed, people's lives with your influence." And David Goggins looks at him and says, "No, I was 300 pounds and sprayed for cockroaches." And God said, "Oh, well, this was the plan I had for you, but instead you chose the other plan."
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
so that sticks with me a lot. And so it's like with Everett, I mean, there might have been, this was what could have happened in your life, but you chose that other life, and because of you influencing him, I'm sure 100% helped that. So that's why I'm always like, we all have choices in life, right?
Yes,
and
yes.
and and yeah, sure, the easy road is this big, it's huge, you can't even see my hands hardly, it's that big. And that narrow road is harder, but the end results are just amazing. You
Absolutely.
take that step of faith and do what God's calling you to do, and keep going with it. So now, you still work with youth?
Yes, yes. I'm currently the social programs director. It's called the Padua Center and Community Center, and we're there to basically meet the needs of the people. It's actually not too far in the same neighborhood where the after school club was on at First Alliance Church, 22nd and Monroe, and now currently I'm there at Nebraska and Junction. And we just concluded an 8-week summer camp and looking forward now to our after school program. So we deal with grades K through eighth. And this morning doing the welcoming, during the first day of school at Rosary, a set of twin girls by the name of Royal and Rain. I'm at the microphone. We've got music playing. We're shouting, "Hey, you got it! Have a great year! It's gonna be successful." And I see these two little blessings, and I just froze because we would do exercises after lunch at the during summer camp. Love doing exercise, playing music. I let them talk into the mic or they scream into the mic. And it was just so cute when I saw the two of them. It just made my heart just leap. I'm like, oh, I remember that. And then of
Yeah.
course they know how Mr. Cooper is. So I put the mic. I said, "How are you? Good. How are you feeling? Good. Do you
Aw.
want me to take? No. What did I say? Um, asking these lead on questions where I know I'm going to get yes. I said, "Are you going to have a good year?" Yes. "Do you want me to stop putting this microphone in front of your face?" Yes. So it was so cool, just so cool. Again, there's just something about children. My wife and I, we have 10 grandchildren
Mhm.
and a great grandchild,
Oh,
as a
congratulations.
matter of fact. And they all process things differently. So there's no one size fits all.
Mhm.
Um, some of them need some extra attention, some need some redirecting, some need some redirecting,
Mhm.
and others need redirect.
Oh yeah.
So I've mastered, with the help of being a social program director and grandchildren, I'm earning a master's degree in redirecting, because again, we love them. We're glad that they're there, and we have to do our very best. I strive to do my best to curb the behavior, to redirect them,
Mhm.
so that we can accomplish what goals we set out. Because I firmly do believe that when you reach back, because this is the future.
Mhm.
The children, the youth, the young folks nowadays, these are tomorrow's leaders.
Mhm.
And I know that as we continue to age gracefully, one day they may be a blessing to us.
Right.
And that's my hope, because it does take a village, and I pray to God that as I get older, that these younger ones that are coming up
Mhm.
behind us, that they'll be sensitive to us and help take care of us.
Right.
You know,
Right. Yeah. And you did say something to me earlier about you have
yeah, twin
twin
grandsons,
grandsons.
right?
And I liked what you said earlier, because you're talking about how they process things different, right? That
Yes,
you hear the same words are coming out of your mouth, but their hearing and their thinking is so different. And
processing
I
differently.
think people need to know that, because they'll look sometimes, even like, let's just say Everett and his two brothers, like, well, wait, they came from the same household. How can they be so different? And because our minds are so different. So
Yes,
I like when you said that about them. Like, you could say something to them, and one does it the other one way, and the
yes.
other one's looking at you like,
I'll say something here. Papa, did you say he can do this? And it's like, no, that's not what I said. Yes, you did. Okay, obviously that's what he heard,
hmm,
but that's not what I said.
right, right.
So again, they gave me some early preparation on redirecting.
Hmm. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yes, because they do process things differently.
Yeah. So you're a super busy man. I see that.
Yes, a little bit. In addition with the social programs, I love sports. Matter of fact, got a race this evening.
Oh,
Now that I
okay.
think about it, it's our annual picnic. I'm a Toledo road runner. Um, I tore my ACL back in '97 playing basketball, so I never thought, running for what, unless there was a basketball, volleyball, or softball,
Mm-hmm.
but just the art of running. I thoroughly enjoy that. But sports, big part of my life, recreation. If you follow me on social media,
Mm-hmm.
I think I'm up to day number 753 of consecutive cardio, where I intentionally run or walk for at least 20 minutes,
Mm-hmm.
do something cardio, mowing the lawn, playing senior softball. Um, but as far as uh, reaching back, being a part of two nonprofit organizations, social programs director, then sports director over basketball, softball, and volleyball sporting programs at Proclaim. And then I work with boys in foster care in Sylvania. That was a whole new world for me
Mm.
as well, because as being a youth pastor from '86, I'm pretty good with teens.
Mm-hmm.
I want to believe I'm pretty
Mm-hmm.
good. I have influence. I can speak their language,
Yeah.
and they usually obey what I say. Well, when you work with at risk boys
Mm-hmm.
who have issues that I had never been exposed to,
Mm-hmm.
it was a whole new world for me, just like it was when I started working at Cherry Street Mission. I had never used drugs, never smoked, never drank, never been high before, but yet God opened the door for me to be the chaplain over
Mm.
men whose lives consisted of those things. And so it was a learning experience.
Mm-hmm.
Same thing with working with at risk boys. I had never been in their shoes, never been in that environment. So thank God for the training and the owner. She obviously, Laura Richmeyer, great lady, good friend of mine that I knew from the mission. We were co-workers. He said, "Hey Avery, we need some more employers there, and I think you would be great because they want to play sports and just talk."
Mm-hmm.
And he knew I can play sports, and he know I can talk. No, I'm sorry, I have something to
Say,
say.
you have something to say.
So started working there with them, and I really love it. I love it. Again, it's just something about reaching back, helping, assisting. I can be a blessing because God continues to bless me.
Hmm. Yeah. And the thing is like, I know that I talk about this a lot too. You never know, like when you're talking to somebody. So you could be talking to one of those foster kids and they're looking at you like off in the other world. But then one day they might be walking down the street and be like, oh, I remember when Mr. Cooper said this, and so that's why I think it's so important when we're talking to people and giving our advice sometimes, our worldly lived advice too.
Yes.
But just to know, like, people don't respond to it always immediately, but saying the things that we know might help somebody get through their struggles. And what you do is amazing. I love it because, like I just told you a little bit ago, that's what my passion is really teenagers and youth. Just building their self esteem and letting them know that they're worth it. Because in this world, and especially with our social media world, I feel like kids get. Can you imagine if they had social media when we were growing up,
Oh my.
and when you were talking about your teeth, and I was the same, like my teeth, my freckles, this, that. And I think about it now, I have social media. I don't know if I'd still be here because I know how bad that bullying is,
Hmm.
and your self-esteem goes like that.
Right. Right.
So to have that and have you to be God's hands, because like you said, you never worked with addicts or anything like that, and here you are, and God's like, okay, well, I'll show you how to do this, and I
Absolutely.
think that's huge. And I actually was going to ask you, do you know Mike Henderson by chance?
I don't think
No,
so.
he worked with like Sassy and
Oh,
stuff
okay.
down there in that
Okay.
area, so I just didn't know. But anyways, so yeah, that's awesome that you're doing that. You run. Now I'm going to ask you back. You said you tore your ACL. Is that what you said? In
Yes.
'97. So,
In '97, yes.
and you said did you have to have surgery with
I had
that?
surgery.
So did you think that you'd ever run again,
See, I
or play?
wasn't running.
Well, you were
See,
playing
I was
sports,
I was playing basketball,
basketball. Yeah.
and I when I tore my ACL playing basketball in '97. Um, I thank God I had a good surgeon. They repaired me. Good rehab team, and I've never to this day, thank God, I have two screws in my leg, but never had any issues with it. And I didn't become a road runner. I didn't start running until 2009.
Okay.
My sister challenged me and my brother-in-law, her husband, um, to just start running. And my sister and I, we started, and look, that was 2009. What is this, 2022?
Yeah. 13
Uh,
years.
13 years later, look still doing it, and I love it. I just never thought that I would be doing something like this, and playing senior softball and playing senior basketball. And I use that word senior, in quotes, because it's not 65 and up; it's
Right.
50
Right.
and up.
Right. I'm like, wait a minute. I know you're not that old. I'm like, well, you're a senior, then I'm a senior, and I'm definitely not a senior. So we're not even going there with
Although I
that.
got my AARP card, as
Yeah.
soon as you
Yeah.
get
Yeah.
into 50, they send
They
that thing
send
in
that
the
right to
mail.
you.
So I've had that for a few years
Plus, you
now.
get a golden Buckeye card, right? Too.
I guess that they didn't send that one to me
Oh,
in the
well,
mail, but
I
I
thought you got
definitely
those
got
too.
that. We have
Yeah.
that AARP card,
Yeah.
but it is a joy. The sports, and then even with the running, it's my happy place.
Mm-hmm.
All of the lives that I have influence over and that I don't take for granted, the relationships. It really does. It takes that team. It takes that team of people to help get the goal accomplished. Revert back to this morning's uh, the first day of school. The sister, my contact there at the school, texted me late Saturday and asked me if I could come on Tuesday to opening day. Well, of course, I had a busy weekend, had these things planned, but anybody who knows me, ministry and just love of helping, I couldn't pass up that
Yeah.
opportunity. So I know I'm like, okay, I need help because somebody has the videotapes, somebody has to say hi, somebody has to play the music.
Right.
I can't do all of those. I can, but I can't do them all at the same time.
Right.
So I called on one of my friends there at First Church. She came through, and then I reached out to one of my brothers who goes to Christ the Word Church in Sylvania. And God did that,
Yeah.
just brought us all
Yeah.
together, and boom. It's good to have not only influence, but friends that you can count
Count
on,
on.
who they know what you're about. They know
Mhm.
that this isn't about me, but it's about the God that we serve,
Yes.
and of
Yes.
course, um, yes, He's using us. So I'm going to let my light shine,
Mm-hmm.
whether I'm playing softball, whether I'm playing basketball, whether I'm learning how to. Uh, the boys in the group foster home had me on ripstick. You know what a ripstick is?
I have
It's like a
no idea.
skateboard, but it has these wiggly wheels, and you have to balance yourself and do like this to kind
Mm.
of. And I'm like, oh Lord, I like trying new stuff, but
Right.
okay.
Yeah.
But
So how'd you do on that, by the way?
it took a few weeks, but I was
Yeah.
able to. I got up confidence enough where I got on it with. I would come most Sundays, and I wouldn't have time to change clothes. So I still would have on like my suit. So I had on my dress slacks and my church shoes, and I'm out there because I'm determined I will not fall. So yes, and the boys are very encouraging. Pastor Coop, come on, you got it, you got it, you got it. So they hype me up too. See, they've taken a page out of my book. See,
Right.
because they know when they think they can't, they know that I'll be there saying, yes, you can do this.
Yes.
Yes, you can
Yes.
do it.
Oh, that's good. I like that you do that. Now you just mentioned pastor, so you're a pastor.
Well, they called me
They call,
Pastor
okay.
Coop there, and yes, I was a youth
Oh, that's
pastor
right.
for
You
the
said
first
that.
time back in '87. Look, long, long time ago. And my running friends, when they find out, they want to know, well, when are you speaking? Well, I speak all the
Right.
time.
Right.
I'm speaking
Right.
now.
Right. Right. Exactly.
But
So
it's a lifestyle.
so now at your church you do worship too?
No,
No.
no, I
Oh,
do
I
not
thought maybe
sing.
saw you up
I
there doing
can
some
talk,
worship.
I can rap a little bit, I can teach, but sing, no.
Yeah. I'm the same. Like people are like, I'll be singing like, so when you say, I want to go back to this a little bit too, like being that light, right? And always,
Yes.
always being that light. So working back at the casino, I worked there from 2012 to 2018. I was a dealer. And then I left because it was just a very depressing, dark place for me. And I just came back because of a bonus. I mean, I'd be lying if I said that wasn't why I came back. But I know God had a big purpose for me to be back here in Toledo, honestly.
Right.
So that's all happening. But every day before I go into work, that's what I mean, every day when I wake up, I'm like, okay, God, who can I bless today, or who can I be a light to their world? But on my way to the casino, I listen to some Christian music. And then I always say, like my one friend last night, he's like, okay, go in there and be the light to somebody. And that's what I do. Every day I walk in the door, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna be the light in somebody's world. So the singing part, of course, the music's going, I'm dancing in the pits, right? They're all like, there she goes. My one boss would be like, hey, surveillance called and said, you need to stop dancing. I'm like, no, they didn't. Stop it. But I'll be singing too. And people are like, oh, you have a great voice. I'm like, oh gosh, no, I don't. If you ever heard me on a microphone, you'd be like, sit her down. Just let her dance.
Turn it off.
Turn it off now. So, but being that light, and
Yes.
that's
Yes.
what I think, the biggest thing is in this world. We have the news media, we have all the things that are so depressing. And I mean, sure, there's horrible things going on in the world, but there's so much greatness in the world too that people just
Absolutely.
don't get to see.
Absolutely. That is so true.
Yeah, and that's why I did this. Just to let people know that you're going through a struggle, and you've been through struggles. We've all been through them, but we can get through them, and we can just be the light in the world. Then
That's what God called us to be the light. And a light does more damage in the darkness. Like in this room we're in, those lights are on, but we've got all that natural light just coming right through there. Well, once that natural light leaves, uh, these lights will be more effective. Right now, they're not, I mean, they're okay, but the light does most of its damage or is brighter in the darkness. And God definitely needs people who are in the light to be in quote unquote dark places, places so that you can reach and extend. So whether you're at the casino or whether you're at the gas station, the grocery store, everybody is not called to public ministry, in the pulpit.
Right.
However, we all are called to be servants and to be witnesses. We can be a witness by the lifestyle that we live. That's not to say that we won't make a decision that we could have probably made a better one.
Sure.
It's not to say we won't make mistakes. It's not to say that we won't blow it. Uh, However, because we're walking in the light, once we know that we've blown it, we know how to repent, ask God to forgive us. And if we've injured someone, ask them to forgive us as well. Whether they receive it or not, that's on them. You've done your part, you've asked them, and now you keep it moving.
Yeah.
My hashtag on all of my social media posts, I always conclude with let's go. In other words, we got to keep it moving. I don't have time to sit and debate and argue and discuss. Let's go. I got things to do.
Yeah.
Let's go. Tammy is waiting on me. I got to go. I got my first podcast to do. Let's go.
Let's go. We gotta go. Yeah, and it's so true. Just and keep going. And I like what you said, because people will be like, oh yeah, your world's all rainbows and unicorns. No, my world's not all rainbows and unicorns. And yes, I make mistakes too.
Yes.
And that's the thing. And we learn to how to navigate through those, and what we need to do to ask God for our forgiveness, and people too, because I just the other day my friend called me, and she was saying something about somebody on our team, and then I kind of snapped at her a little bit, and then like I was like, who was that? That's not you. You're not like that. So I apologized, and she's like, I didn't think anything of it. I said, well, I did, because it was just the way I came across. I felt like it wasn't,
Right.
And like you said, and that's their choice whether they forgive you when something happens. But I like people to know that, like they're, especially people that are in their early recovery with me, and they'll be like, well, you're so strong, and I'm like, man, I'm 18 years sober. I didn't get this way in one day, 6 months, a year. I mean, it's been work. And I think that a lot of times people don't, of course, in the social media world too, they don't see that we have to work on things, and have those tools. And, I'm sure that with your youth, you give them, those tools to use and things, so I think that's important just for people to know that no, we're not perfect out here.
No,
we're just trying to be the light in the world.
Yes, we are.
And that's what, I say that every person on this planet Earth has a purpose and has a gift. And it might not be a gift of, spreading hope, spreading love. Well, spreading love, everybody should have that.
Yes.
But not, working with youth or, like you said, being on the pulpit or doing the things like that. But we all have a purpose and a gift. It might be cutting grass. I listened to Steve Harvey say that about his one friend. Like, his gift was cutting grass. He's like, we'd all be going out. He'd be like, nope, I got to go cut the grass. And now he's got like a $3 billion business or something. But that was his gift.
Right.
Colonel Sanders, Kentucky Fried Chicken was
Yes.
his gift. So I say we all have a gift. And the other day I made a post and I thought it just came to me. Well, God gave it to me. And it was like, if you're not using what your purpose or gift is, and that's like turning your back on God, because he gives us that, and he gives us the hope that we can share with others, and keeping it to ourselves isn't a good thing because it's a gift to be open for everybody. So,
Amen.
yeah.
Amen. That's
Yeah.
good.
I like that too. So I'm so blessed that you came and met with me today. I was super excited.
Yes.
I'm sure you have a busy day ahead of you.
Yes.
Oh, you have a run tonight, you said.
Yes. The annual picnic. Let's see. Today is Tuesday. Yes, and then tomorrow there's another community event at the Wayman Palmer Y. Thursday, senior softball game. Friday, something, I'm sure.
I'm sure. Now, does your wife run with you too?
Yeah, she runs me.
Okay.
No, she ran in junior high school, so no.
No.
And then jokingly, those who know me will say, yes, I run the household. I run the vacuum cleaner, the dishwasher, the vehicles. I run the cars. Yes, I do a lot of running. There's a lot of running going on in my world. But no, she ran in high school, in junior high school.
Okay, awesome. Great. How long have you and your wife been married? I didn't even ask that.
29, let's see, 93. So yes, 29 years.
Coming
So
up on 30.
we just hit 29 2 Sundays ago.
So,
29 years.
wow.
So 29 and counting.
29. And how many kids do you guys have?
4. We
Four.
have an extended blended family.
Okay.
When we were married, she had 2 and I had 2, so we call it an extended blended
I love
family.
it.
So that, and then from those 4, the 10 grandchildren and the 1 great grandchild.
Awesome.
So life is good, and God is good.
He is amazing. So, anything else you want to say before we wrap it up here?
No, I'm just again very thankful for the opportunity, and I look forward to telling everybody that I had my first podcast with Tammy.
I'm so excited to get it launched, which we'll do that today. So,
okay.
Yeah. So
All
thank
right.
you so much. Can I get a hug?
Sure. Oh, I could high five and then.
High five. I'm a hugger.
Okay.
So,
All right.
everybody, I just want to thank you for getting on Hope. Once again, Avery, thank you so much for joining me today.
My pleasure.
And you guys just know that, in this world, you're not struggling alone. There's so much hope out there. And if you can't find anybody to reach out to, I'm sure Avery, you can reach out to him. You can reach out to me on all my social media platforms. And, just here, I might not be able to help your situation like you think I can, but I can listen and offer you some hope to get through your struggles. So you guys all have a great day.
Peace.
Bye.